Is it already going? Yeah, excellent. So welcome everyone to the 88th RFA Reunion. Here's the overview of the activities and discussions we're gonna go through today. You all have the link to join this session. You can come and go from the Zoom session as suits your schedule. So if you need to drop off for an hour or several, please feel free to do so and join us back for the sessions that you're interested and able to join. I want to share just a little bit about the Reynolds Family Association and our great tradition of reunions, because we know that even some folks that have joined us today aren't yet part of the Reynolds Family Association, and so we want to invite you all to join. And there's a page on our website where you're able to submit applications, and it's pretty straightforward to join. Basically, the Reynolds Family Association started with a small family reunion in Connecticut in the 1890s and has been moving along ever since. And we've been a registered organization since 1977 and ongoing, for the most part, continuously since then. And there was a spell in the 2010s when RFA wasn't active, but Larry Joe Reynolds, our former president, resurrected RFA and brought it into the digital age with a great website and other things. Okay, so just really quickly, I'd like to go through a couple things about using Zoom. I know several people had expressed concerns that they weren't familiar with how this platform works. And I want to remind everyone, please keep yourself muted when you don't intend to be speaking, so we don't pick up all your background noise, etc. While you're muted, you can hold down the space bar to turn on your microphone to speak for just a moment. As I said, you can come and go throughout the day. You can use little emojis to give the speaker some feedback, etc. And if you need help, feel free to make comments in the comment box. Someone will try to reach out to you to help. We have time set aside from 12:15 Eastern time through 1:30 Eastern time. That is a break time, and you can take the time to just feed yourself. And we're going to set up breakout rooms for that same time. So we've preset 9 different breakout rooms, and some of them are organized by RFA's larger family groups. For example, the James of Rhode Island family will have a breakout room that folks that are in our audience that want to join that session can join. We have 9 different groups organized. Some of them are RFA's large line groups, and some of them are just geographic areas. So if you're around in the sort of lunch hour, please feel free to join. You'll be able to choose your own breakout room, and you can join that to discuss your Reynolds family project you're working on, or anything that would be of your interest. You also have the ability to propose and add new breakout rooms if there isn't one that you think really fits the discussion topic you have. Okay, so just wanted everyone to be aware of those. And I'm going to talk through really quickly some initiatives, some things that Reynolds Family Association has been working on over the last couple of years, and some of the things we see as our major projects in the coming year. One thing we've been encouraging all members to do is to add their most distant Reynolds ancestor to the RFA list. Traditionally, for decades and decades, RFA has had a list of our classic Reynolds families. And then people that didn't belong to those classic Reynolds known lineages were all lumped into a sort of Stonewall group. Well, recently we've been encouraging people to add whoever their most distant known ancestor is to our list. And so we've been getting a lot of additions to known Reynolds most distant ancestors, and we've been adding them to our site. As people add their most distant Reynolds ancestor, we've encouraged them to write up a brief biography or link to a web page where they have their detailed research. Anything really is okay. We can link it to our web page here so other people can find information about your Reynolds ancestor. We've encouraged people to use those same bios to share in the RFA quarterly newsletter, and people can always share the same biography in Facebook posts. RFA has a Facebook group that everyone is welcome to join. Another sort of parallel initiative, and I need to ask, for the folks that can see my presentation screen, can you see where my mouse is? Can you see the mouse hovering over the screen, or do you just see the slide itself?
I can see the mouse.
You can see the mouse. Okay. Thank you. Helpful. So we've been encouraging folks to find someone of their Reynolds line to do a Y-DNA test. That helps us identify sort of Y-DNA signatures. And it's not important that everybody understands what this weird series of letters and numbers mean, but just please understand that these are sort of like a fingerprint that identifies that specific lineage. We'll talk a little bit more later on Y-DNA during a session I'm going to do at 2 p.m. today, but we really won't go down the rabbit hole on Y-DNA during discussion today, but we'll touch on it a little bit. Another thing RFA has been doing is continuing Y-DNA Scholarship Fund. We started this, the Larry Joe Reynolds, named after our former president, and Joe, who's with us today and who resurrected RFA after dormancy for several years. We have this Larry Joe Reynolds Scholarship Fund that makes subsidies for Y-DNA tests available to folks that are investing in Y-DNA testing. And the scholarship fund offers $50 subsidies for people that are buying a big Y test. That's a sort of highly precise Y-DNA test. And the same scholarship fund also offers free Y-DNA tests to old Reynolds, to old world Reynoldses. So if you or someone you know is a Reynolds that traces their lineage to England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, so far we believe just about all Reynoldses come from the British Isles rather than other parts of Europe, but scholarships are available to test those folks. We would just need them to come forward. We'll talk about this a little bit more later on. And if anyone has questions about these scholarships, please be in touch with myself or with Nancy Wallander, who is, I believe she planned to join the session today. She's also the other administrator of the Y-DNA, the Reynolds Y-DNA project. Nancy, if you're here, please wave. I don't have the full view of all the people right now. And something that Joe will discuss a little in a great deal more, in a lot more detail at 11:30 are some, he'll give everyone a tour of all the resources on the RFA website. There's a lot of stuff there, folks. And he will talk through what's there. And he'll be working on website upgrades over the next several months. We are planning to use this same Zoom platform to do approximately quarterly meetings going forward. They won't be, sort of all-day meetings like this by any stretch. There'll be more ad hoc, kind of shorter meetings about specific topics of interest. And for those meetings, we welcome folks to come forward to propose hosting those sessions to say, hey, I want to talk about X. And you could be a co-host of one of those sessions. Please feel free to be in touch if you have something along those lines to suggest. The topics could be your specific lineage. It could be about folks researching a geographic area. I don't know. It could be Reynolds is in Western Massachusetts, for example. And we can set up sort of ad hoc meetings for things like that. Please be in touch if that's something that you're interested in helping host. Okay, and we could do the same sort of thing for clusters of matching Reynoldses. Okay, this is, I won't go through all the details here, but this is just to show some progress that we've made over the last year or so on some of the classic Reynolds RFA lines with Y-DNA testing. We have a descendant of John and Sarah Backus of Connecticut that has been leading some Y-DNA testing and has found a match to an English Reynolds man, and they've been working on developing their potential connections, which is very interesting. We have a couple of descendants and matches to the Henry and Prudence line that are working on what their possible connections might be, and we'll hear a little bit more on that topic this afternoon from Jeff. And we're making progress on several of these other lines. If any, I won't go through all the details, but if anyone has questions, feel free to reach out to me at any time. Okay, so that is what I wanted to cover, to say welcome to everyone. And Diane will start her session at 10:20, but I want to open it up now, in case anybody has questions about the things I covered before we transition over to Diane in a couple of minutes. And I think I have to stop sharing my screen in order to see all of the participants here. Okay, so, yep. Welcome, Harold. I see you waving. Is that because you wanted to speak, or are you just saying hi to everyone? Okay. Yep.
Actually, I had a question.
Yes, Charles. Hi. Welcome. Go right ahead, Charles.
Hi, I'm in Charles Reynolds in Tampa, Florida. So, is there anybody from your last comments? Is anybody looking at whether any of our lines actually line up and match with each other? For instance, I have a line, but I strongly suspect that as DNA testing progresses, and I've already been contacted by a couple people, that our lines actually are derived from the same place, but I don't know how to get that process started or confirm it.
Yes, excellent question. So you're saying, okay, of some of these lines that are on the RFA website, for example, if some of them are DNA matches across those lines, your question is, how are we approaching sort of ironing out those connections? Good question. Yes, we are seeing, one of the great things about this method is we are seeing connections across multiple lines. And in those cases, mostly we, as in Nancy, myself, the administrators of the project, and the folks that are the matches, are usually working together to communicate about, that there is this known match. There are many, I'd say perhaps 10% of the Reynolds lines that are tested are showing matches with other lines. And it's very interesting where we do see those matches and also where we do not see those matches. Because folks that have read the old RFA annuals, that is, Reynolds family reports from, the 1920s and so, and those reports speculated that, Robert of Boston and James of Kingstown and Christopher of Virginia were all of some grand family that was they were all brothers that came together. that was all speculation of 100 years ago, and our Y-DNA testing has shown where that's true and where that's not true. Good question. That'd be a big topic of discussion in itself. I hope I answered some of it. We are seeing that, and we're working out on, on an individual group basis where those sort of matches are. Okay. Other questions for now? So is now. I will also share that at 2 times during the course of our sessions today, we will be randomly selecting from among our participants to give out some door prizes. And those door prizes are, we have 2 things. One, we have an annual subscription to Legacy Family Tree webinars, which is a great site for genealogy training and guides. And so we'll be selecting one person to receive an annual subscription to that, and we'll be selecting one other person to receive a sort of medium level Y-DNA test that they could use either on themselves if they're a male Reynolds, or on a husband or cousin if they are a female. And Nancy and I can help you find the right person to test if for example, you're a female and, win that to test a male relative. Okay, so we'll announce who received those at the end of the session. Okay, and for now, Diane, are you all ready for us to switch over to you in a minute? Okay, excellent. We are going to close out the recording of the prior session. We'll start recording your session separately, Diane, to keep these apart.